discovering your attachment style. This might be something that you've heard of before, and it also might be something that is kind of new to your realm. I know that, like, I even went to school for all of this and I studied attachment styles, and yet not at this level of understanding of how it's really affecting us right now in our modern society, and how we bring it with us through life, and how we navigate our relationships based on the attachment styles that we develop. So what is an attachment style? An attachment style is patterns of behavior and beliefs that we develop in childhood affecting the way we form and maintain relationships. And so your attachment style really starts in childhood, and it can adapt throughout your lifetime depending on circumstances. But where our foundational attachment style comes from is during our childhood years, as we've come to discover pretty much everything that every single pattern of behavior that we have really stems from our childhood years, when we were being molded. And so I know we've talked about this before, but if you're new to hearing me talk, then, we have this understanding that when we're in the ages between 0 and 7, then our mind is in this kind of meditative state, and we take in information all around us and create our belief systems. So it really depends on the environment we grew up in and what our parents' attachment styles were. So today we're going to go through the different types of attachment styles, what types of attachment styles kind of work well together, which ones do not work well together, and what to do about it if you find, oops, I'm in that situation, whoopsie doodle. So we're really going to get down to it and discuss attachment styles in correlation with physical health and mental health and relationships. So we're kind of going a full meal deal here. And so our first attachment style is secure. Secure attachment style is characterized by trust, comfort with intimacy, and autonomy. Signs of a secure attachment style in a person is, I have so much written down right now because I've just been researching this like crazy. And so I will pull out my sheet to read additional things off of there, because this is just, we're going to deep dive today. We are going to get it all figured out. Okay, so here are signs of a secure attachment style. 1, comfort with intimacy. So people with secure attachment styles are generally comfortable with emotional intimacy and closeness in relationships. They're capable of forming secure and trusting bonds with their partner. 2, effective communication. Individuals with secure attachment styles tend to have good communication skills. They can express their emotions and needs clearly and listen attentively to their partner without becoming defensive or dismissive. 3, balanced independence and dependence. Those with secure attachment styles strike a healthy balance between independence and dependence. They value their autonomy, but also recognize the importance of relying on and supporting their partner when needed. Emotional availability is number 4. People with secure attachment styles are emotionally available to their partners. They can offer support, empathy, and understanding during times of distress or emotional challenges. Trust and security is number 5. Those with secure attachment styles have a foundation of trust in their relationships. They trust their partner's intentions. They feel secure in the relationship and have confidence in the ability and responsiveness of their partner. Number 6, someone with a secure attachment style has openness to vulnerability. Individuals with secure attachment styles are comfortable being vulnerable with their partner. They can share their fears, insecurities, and deeper emotions without fearing judgment or rejection. Number 7, they have effective conflict resolution. People with secure attachment styles approach conflicts in a constructive manner. They are willing to engage in open and respectful dialogue, finding mutually beneficial resolutions and maintaining the overall stability of the relationship. Number 8, they're supportive and responsive in behavior. Individuals with secure attachment styles are responsive to their partner's needs and emotions. They offer support, encouragement, and validation, promoting a sense of safety and emotional well-being in the relationship. So those are the 8 signs of someone who has a secure attachment style. Now, before we go forward, our attachment styles, we're going to have things that we really resonate with. So if you resonate with those behaviors, chances are you're secure. But you may have a few of the other attachment styles in there too, because we're people, we're fluid. And so moving on the secure attachment style. So what are the mental health conditions that may be associated with this attachment style? As a therapist, if someone came in and I saw that these are the behaviors that they're demonstrating, there is no mental health conditions that I would give as a speculative diagnosis in this situation. I would say this is a pretty healthy-minded individual. It doesn't mean that they don't have any mental health conditions, but hearing these specific attributes, I would say I don't see any signs of alarm here. Now, moving into the other attachment styles that are considered less healthy. And so these come from what we will call traumatic experiences, different things going on in life. Even if you grew up in a home that, for all intents and purposes, was quite lovely, you could develop these just from emulating other people in your home or from our perspective on what's going on in our life. And so secure is considered the most healthy of attachment styles. That's one we just discussed. And now we'll move into the other ones that tend to cause a little bit more disruption in relationships. And as another caveat, what's amazing about attachment styles is they're not genetic. You're not born with it. It's something that you've learned and they adapt through life. And it's something that once you have awareness and education on, you can change. You can change this. So there's a lot of power in this knowledge and understanding what is going on. It's really funny because once you start really learning about it, it's like, oh. And I've had a few moments, and I'll get into them later about kind of my journey in this. And guess what? My primary attachment style was not secure for a long time. And I had no idea. I was like, I'm doing great. No. So the next attachment style we're going to talk about is avoidant. So avoidant attachment style is characterized by discomfort with intimacy and a need for independence. So here are the signs of an avoidant attachment style. 1, emotional detachment. People with avoidant attachment tend to keep their emotions at a distance and may have difficulty expressing their feelings. They may appear aloof or reserved, often suppressing their emotions to maintain a sense of independence. They have a fear of intimacy as number 2. Individuals with avoidant attachment styles may have a deep fear of emotional intimacy and closeness. They may avoid getting too close to others or forming deep emotional bonds, as it can make them feel vulnerable or engulfed. Maintaining personal space is number 3. People with avoidant attachment value their personal space and independence. They may need significant amounts of alone time and may resist merging lives or identities with a partner, often creating physical or emotional distance. Number 4, they're reluctant to commit. Avoidant individuals may have a strong aversion to making long-term commitments in relationships. They may shy away from labels or prefer to keep relationships casual or non-committal to avoid feeling trapped or constrained. Number 5, they have difficulty with trust. individuals with avoidant attachment styles may struggle with trust, particularly when it comes to relying on others emotionally. They may be skeptical of others' intentions, leading to a reluctance to confide in or depend on their partner. Number 6, tendency to self-soothe. Avoidant individuals often rely on self-soothing techniques and self-reliance to manage their emotions. They may avoid seeking support from others during times of distress or minimize their own needs and vulnerabilities. Number 7, their emotional independence. People with avoidant attachment styles prioritize their independence and self-sufficiency. They may resist relying on others for emotional support or struggle to ask for help when needed, preferring to handle challenges on their own. Number 8, dismissing or devaluing emotions. Avoidant individuals may dismiss or downplay their own or others' emotions. They may have difficulty emphasizing with their partner's emotional needs or may view emotional expression as unnecessary or burdensome. So, mental health conditions that may be associated with this attachment style. So as a therapist, if I heard someone, demonstrating these behaviors or seeing these things, then these are the disorders I may give a speculative diagnosis on. And again, just because they're showing these symptoms doesn't mean they have this disorder. And if they have this disorder, they may not show all these symptoms, but could give a general idea of what's going on. So if I saw someone who had these behaviors in an avoidant attachment style, I would speculate that they could possibly have avoidant personality disorder. I mean, that's a pretty obvious one. Depression, that isolation piece, being outside of community, that can definitely cause a sense of depression. And they could possibly have generalized anxiety disorder. They could possibly have post-traumatic stress disorder. Narcissistic personality disorder would be congruent with this, and social anxiety disorder. So these are some possibilities of mental health conditions that could coexist with this attachment style, or also this attachment style could be the cause of these behaviors causing these types of diagnosis. So this is really interesting because we're seeing that a lot of diagnosis may or may not be related to these attachment styles that are created through youth. I don't know if you can hear my phone's ringing. Okay, just shut that down. Okay, and so the next attachment style is anxious. So anxious attachment style is characterized by a fear of abandonment and a need for constant reassurance. So signs of an anxious attachment style. Let's see. So signs of an anxious attachment style are this. 1, constantly seeking reassurance. People with anxious attachment often seek reassurance and validation from their partner to alleviate their fears of abandonment. They may ask for constant affirmation of love and may feel insecure even when there's no evidence of relationship problems. Overanalyzing and interpreting actions is number 2. Individuals with anxious attachment tend to overthink and assign meaning to their partner's actions or words. They may read too much into minor changes in behavior, leading to heightened anxiety and jumping to conclusions about potential relationship threats. Fear of abandonment is number 3. Anxious individuals may have an intense fear of being abandoned or rejected. This fear can manifest as clinginess or possessiveness as they attempt to maintain constant closeness and avoid any perceived threat to the relationship. So number 4, need for constant contact. People with anxious attachment may have a strong desire to be in a constant contact with their partner. They may text or call frequently, seeking reassurance or simply wanting to feel connected. Jealousy and possessiveness. Anxious individuals may display jealousy and possessive behaviors due to their fear of losing their partner. They may exhibit controlling tendencies or become easily threatened by others who they perceive as potential romantic rivals. Number 6, overwhelming emotional expressiveness. Individuals with anxious attachment styles often experience intense emotions and may express them openly. They may become overly emotional during conflicts or experience frequent mood swings, seeking their partner's attention and support to soothe their anxieties. Number 7, difficulty with boundaries. People with anxious attachment may struggle with setting and respecting boundaries. They may have a tendency to merge their identity with their partner's identity. And number 8, overdependence on the relationship for self-worth. Anxious individuals may rely heavily on the relationship for their self-esteem and self-worth. They may seek validation from their partner and struggle with feeling secure unless they receive consistent external affirmation. So, so anxious attachment style, the speculative diagnosis I may give someone who's exhibiting these types of behaviors are possibly an anxiety disorder, possibly dependent personality disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and possibly post-traumatic stress disorder. Those would be the things that come up. So again, though, they may not have these disorders at all. It may be their attachment style is the only thing that needs adjustment. And so I will say about the anxious attachment style, this is actually the attachment style that benefits the most from education and has the highest chance of making changes to their attachment style and moving into becoming secure. So if you have that anxious attachment style, this is good news. The more educated you become and understand it, then chances are you can fully recover from that. The avoidant personality style has a little bit more difficulty coming to terms typically with it because they love their independence and they cherish their independence. So when someone cherishes their independence, chances of them going out and seeking help and becoming educated about their avoidant attachment style is pretty slim. Yeah, it can happen. And it doesn't mean that these people are inherently bad, but the avoidant attachment style can cause quite a bit of damage. And so there is a fourth one here, the anxious avoidant or fearful avoidant. The anxious avoidant attachment style that combines the elements of both the anxious attachment style and the avoidant attachment style. So this one can be quite confusing because it's very hot and cold, back and forth. And so it will carry signs of both. So for this one, the signs of an anxious avoidant attachment style is they're sending mixed signals. It's a lot of push-pull dynamics. They have a strong fear of abandonment, but also a fear of engulfment, also a fear of people becoming too close and smothering them. So it's like a really like Jekyll Hyde situation. And then, so emotional volatility, difficulty with trust and intimacy, ambivalence and indecisiveness. And you'll see some self-sabotaging behaviors for sure in this attachment style. And then there's a lot of inner conflict and lack of self-awareness going on with a person that has an anxious avoidant attachment style. And so mental health conditions that may be associated with this attachment style, if I heard someone describing these behaviors, then as a therapist, my first speculative diagnosis on this would be borderline personality disorder. It is very much they very much would identify with each other. If this sounds familiar to you and someone that you know, these behaviors, Highly recommend you look up borderline personality disorder if you don't know what it is. It's like living with Jekyll and Hyde is the way I describe it. And if you become educated on borderline personality disorder, it makes your life so much easier, because then you can spy it and really try to avoid it as best as you can, because it is very difficult personality to work with, and also they are very avoidant of help typically. So, and people can recover from it. Absolutely, they can recover from it, but there has to be a willingness. And so another mental health disorder I would say that could be associated with this attachment style is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. So, multitude of things going on there. And then some dissociative disorders could be associated with this, anxiety disorders, and depression. Depression would be common in this, and depression commonly goes with BPD, or borderline personality disorder. So percentage of population. The percentage of our population that is secure, oh my gosh, you guys, it's great. 50 to 60%. Most of us are secure. Most of us. Anxious, 20 to 30%. Avoidant, 20 to 25%. Anxious avoidant is in the 5 to 10% range. So that one is far more rare. And so it is good news that most people are already secure in their attachment styles. And so what is the perfect storm here? Someone, and this is so funny, they're so attracted to each other. The anxious plus avoidant. The anxious plus avoidant attachment style. So it is the perfect storm, because what happens is you have an anxious person, they just want to get close, and the avoidant person in the beginning of the relationship, they want to be close too. Like, it's not that an avoidant person doesn't want intimacy, it's they want it and then they pull away because they want their independence more than that. And so what happens is you end up with this dance between the anxious and avoidant, and it is literally the perfect storm, because neither one is getting what they want. The anxious just wants to be intimate. They want to be just enmeshed in their person's life. They want to be there doing everything together. And the avoidant's like, whoa. And yet it's really funny, because they typically end up in relationships with each other. And so it's one of those things. These relationships, if you're already in a relationship like this, there are things that can be done, but it's typically the anxious attachment style is the one who is just constantly making sacrifices, and they just give up on themselves. So typically the avoidant doesn't have to change much or do anything, and they won't, because this is what they value in their life. So if you can avoid, and if you're an anxious attachment style, like that really is something that you're like, okay, yeah, I think that's me. Really, and do not go for the avoidant if you can avoid it. So if you're dating, most people you meet on a dating app will be an avoidant attachment style. Now, why is that? Well, because most of the people in secure attachments are securely attached. So it's like most people that are secure attached. And so anxious attachment style will also secure with anxious attachment style will also connect with a secure, and those relationships tend to do okay as well. So here's the thing. You're going to see mostly avoidant attachment style on dating apps, because these are the people that continuously come into the dating pool. They'll date someone for a couple months, and then they will kind of break off the relationship and go back into the dating pool. So you're going to see a lot of avoidant attachment styles. And so what to do if you're in the dating scene, what to do about this. So I'm going to give you some early signs of an avoidant attachment style that you can kind of watch out for and see if you're in the dating circuit. And this is going to help so much, because at first, what can happen when someone's avoidant, they come in strong. They're going to give a lot of promises usually. And it's not like they're purposely doing this. They're excited to, and they really get into the relationship. They deep dive it. And then so the anxious attachment style and the secure tend to want to move forward with this person like, oh, okay. And so their attachment style starts to kick in, and their systems go online, and all of a sudden they're becoming attached to someone who is avoidant. And then you start seeing the signs. And at that point, even logically, you know, this relationship probably isn't for you or working out. Your attachment systems are already engaged. And so if your attachment systems are already engaged, you can really end up down a rabbit hole. So here's how to avoid that rabbit hole. If you are an anxious or secure attachment type, avoidant attachment styles do not typically find each other or date each other, because there's no glue. There's nothing to hold it all together, because there's no one that really wants any intimacy. So it's so here's what to look for if you're dating and you want to see the early signs of someone who has an avoidant attachment style. So you're going to notice this with them. They're maintaining emotional distance. Individuals with avoidant attachment styles may be hesitant to open up emotionally. They may keep conversations light and avoid discussing personal feelings or vulnerabilities. Difficulty with intimacy. People with avoidant attachment tendencies may struggle with creating and maintaining emotional intimacy. They may be uncomfortable with physical affection, such as holding hands or cuddling, or may become uneasy when conversations become too emotionally intimate. Need for personal space. Those with avoidant attachment may place a high value on their personal space and independence. They may prioritize their alone time and may resist merging their lives with their partners too quickly. Independence and self-sufficiency. Individuals with avoidant attachment styles often exhibit a strong sense of independence and self-reliance. They may be self-sufficient and prefer to handle their own problems and challenges without seeking support or assistance from their partner. Difficulty with commitment. Avoidant attached individuals may exhibit hesitation or ambivalence when it comes to making long-term commitments. They may be reluctant to define the relationship, express a desire for casual or non-committal arrangements, or show resistance to labels or exclusivity. I would also add to this is like they're very vague. You know, when you're trying to make plans and discuss where this relationship is, they're very vague in their answers. And another is unease with emotional support. People with avoidant attachment may feel uncomfortable or uneasy when their partner offers emotional support. They may downplay their own emotions or become dismissive in their partner's attempts to comfort or console them. Prioritizing independence over the relationship. Those with avoidant attachment styles are often prioritize their independence and personal goals over the relationship. They may be highly focused on their own pursuits and may resist integrating their partner into their life or making compromises. Number 8, mixed signals and inconsistency. Individuals with avoidant attachment tendencies may exhibit mixed signals and inconsistent behaviors. They may alternate between being warm and distant, or show signs of hot and cold behavior, which can create confusion and uncertainty in the relationship. A good example of this would be when you're with them, it feels good, like to be with them. They're intimate, they're present, they're there. And then the next day, they don't message and they don't talk to, and they do their own thing. So they tend to, when things get more intimate, they tend to pull away afterwards. So those are the signs to look for if you're in the dating scene and you are looking for secure attachment. You're looking to be in a secure relationship, whether you are anxious attachment style or avoidant. People with anxious attachment style tend to do well with people with secure attachment styles, because the people that are secure are just that, secure. So they are good at reassuring people who are anxious. And so we can change these things. So what to do if your attachment style is affecting your life. So from hearing all these different attachment styles, then you're going to have a pretty good idea by now of where you stand and what type of attachment style you have. And so the best thing to do if your attachment style is affecting your life, or you think it is number one, education and awareness. There is an amazing book called Attached. Highly recommend. It is so good, very straightforward, easy read. And so that education piece is really important, because then you're going to see those things in yourself and bring in that self-awareness of like, oh, I'm acting anxious. Oh, I'm acting avoidant. Oh, and it's like, oh, I'm actually quite secure in this behavior. And so this way you can have more awareness of yourself. And as we know, awareness in and of itself is curative. It is a very helpful piece. And then on top of that, we don't know what we don't know. We often cannot see our own blind spots. And so in that case, seeking professional help from someone who understands attachment styles, they understand attachment theory, that whether that's a mental health therapist, if you're part of our program, then clearly you can get that help here. But yes, someone who really understands this and can help you navigate that. Because if you're in an anxious attachment state or avoidant or anxious avoidant, you definitely want to move more to secure, because you feel better. You feel more secure. And so that's what's to be done about it. So the bottom line, as usual, is it's small steps equals big results. So what you want to do is just, if you're feeling out of sorts on your attachment style and you're not really sure what it is you can do about it, the education, taking those small steps, that awareness, taking the small steps and changes, and seeking that professional help, that is going to help you out the most.